Hi, I'm Mariana Flores, and for our first step in our low poly portrait, we're going to start out in Photoshop. So what we're first going to want to do is find the portrait picture that you took and open it. So for my self-portrait, I'm going to unlock this first layer and then add another layer on top to ensure that this layer, which has my self-portrait, does not get messed up. If I mess up on the Photoshop, I still have the original picture. So for a low poly portrait, this picture does have some good contrast, but I think I want to add a little bit more so that when I transfer it into Illustrator, you can see the transitions more clearly. So I'm going to go to brightness/contrast in my adjustment layer. I'm going to add more contrast, leave the brightness as it is. Now I'm going to go to levels, play around there with the darkness, and maybe go to curves. Adjust some things there. So each photo will be specific to its own attributes. My photo had a lot of contrast already, so I just added the finishing touches. So we'll save as portrait 1, and we'll save it as a PNG. All right. So while that's saving, we're going to go to Illustrator, open where we saved it. There it is. Open that. All right, so now we have our edited picture in Illustrator. We're going to go to our layers and add another just on top. All right, so you see this little black square in the middle. If you have that, we're going to go ahead and transform our portrait image because that little square is the artboard. And we want to have a good clean artboard, white, letter sized. Let's see, move down a little bit so that when we finish our low poly portrait, we'll have a nice background for it to be on. All right, so we have this layer, our picture layer, and then we have our second layer on top. So on the second layer, which you're going to select, go ahead and click on the pen tool. Now we're going to go down here into the left-hand corner where we see the fill and the stroke. The stroke is going to be the line of the pen tool. So we're going to go ahead and double click, and you want to pick a color that's contrasting the photo that you took, your portrait photo. So I have a lot of reds and browns in my photo, so I don't want to choose a red or brown pen color tool, the stroke. So I'm going to pick a light blue. See right there. All right. All right, and then for our fill, we're going to pick none. So when we're on our pen tool, you can see it made one line, no fill. All right, so now we can get started on making the shapes. So when you're making the shapes on your portrait, you want to look for the planer of the shadows and the highlights on the portrait. So right here I can see that this plane is darker than this one. So I'm going to go ahead and outline using the pen tool. It doesn't have to be very specific unless you want it to. And right here, I hope you see that next to the anchor tool, there's a little circle image next to it. And that just means that you're completing the shape. It's very important that you see that little circle next to the pen tool when you're making the shapes so that the fill fills in correctly. All right, so we'll go ahead and complete it. And then we'll do the highlighted area as well. Now you can do triangles, quadrilaterals, whatever shape best fits. I'm going to go ahead and do the eyebrow now. It's alright if you trace over an existing shape. That's absolutely fine. And I think I'll make one more here for the shadow area. And one last one on the forehead. Let's do the eyebrow too, just so we finish the top portion of the head. Alright, so now we've made the shapes for our forehead. And now we're going to go to the selection tool. We're going to pick a shape. Now we're going to go to the eyedropper tool. And you're going to want to click in the middle of the shape to get the best color. Alright, and now that we have the fill of our color, go ahead and click on stroke and select the same color for that so that the stroke will take on the same color. Alright, so this isn't working for me, so I'll go ahead and show you a trick. We want the fill to be this color, so we'll go ahead and copy, double click, delete this number, and paste. Alright, so let's try that with another shape. See, we selected this shape. Now we're going to go to the eyedropper tool, select the color, copy this color, this number right here, double click, delete, and paste. Now you're going to keep doing this, making these shapes until you cover the whole face. Alright, we'll do one more. We'll select the eyebrow. Alright, so now you can see we created our low poly forehead. Alright, so for our finished image, it'll look something like this. Now if you use more shapes, for example here, I used all these different ones instead of these broader ones. The smaller shapes you use, the more colors you will have. You can see there we go. And once you've mastered the basics of the low poly portrait, you can go ahead and manipulate the colors. You can draw on the shapes. Go ahead and express yourself. Do whatever you like to make your portrait uniquely you.